There's one small problem with this roadmap.
Oh dear.
And I think some people in chat noticed it. I don't know. I think you noticed it too.
I have streamer brain, but maybe I noticed it in the past.
Yeah, I think you may have noticed a small issue with this.
Yeah.
Something missing from 11.2.
Ah, yes. Let's move over to that.
Yeah, so 11.2, this is something we talked about quite a bit after the direct. We're like, where's the new zone? Are they shipping without a new zone 11.2? Is the new content Nightfall, is that somehow going to be our new zone? Is it a Hallowfall rework?
Is the war within a scam?
All the kind of stuff we talked about. And then I'm just assuming it's down here somewhere. Is it not?
It's the next thing.
Damn, it's the next thing. Okay, damn. I slightly got it wrong. But here we are. New zone is here.
Yes,
this is
confirmed.
The change. And this didn't replace anything. This was, the list got longer. So the version of the roadmap that they put up in the video and on the site originally and came through in their marketing email was all just said, no new zone.
They made a whoops. Like, it didn't say no new zone. It's just they forgot to put it there.
Yeah.
And I know that may seem insane, but you see when you've just got some, like, Photoshop or whatever document open, you become so blind to everything on that document. Anyone who, works in Photoshop, edits videos, you know what it's like. Yeah. So
there is
actually a simple mistake.
Yeah, it was a simple mistake, and there is just like you said about, maybe, when you're doing things for marketing, you kind of throw stuff up, think about it too much, or you're kind of busy. That happens somewhere else, but we'll get to that later in the stream.
Oh, that's intrigue. So yeah, there is going to be a zone, and there's going to be a zone. Our assumption is the Rootlands zone. Now, there is a little bit of a moonshot idea, but the reason why I think Rootlands, it makes the most sense here is we've got Haranir in patch 11.0.7.
Yes, they are part of they're part of the Kieran Tor quest, as far as Ian's explanation was. I haven't actually done the quest. I think we may have detailed on it here a little bit, but they were in that in some degree. We saw in the direct, we saw Orwena, that in like the in-game cinematic model, communicating with the world soul and capacity and having some big vision or being surprised by something. And
look, Haranir are actually pretty damn cool in some of their in-game lore. We've done a whole video on that, and
a whole lore walking podcast.
And a whole podcast. Basically, it seems like the Haranir are they would be evolutionary cousins of the Night Elves, but fairly distant. So from my current reading of things, from what we understand, was it 20,000 years ago, a bunch of dark trolls, or is it 17,000? I forget exactly, but a bunch of dark trolls settle near the Well of Eternity. Well of Eternity's yummy magic gamer girl bathwater slowly turns them into Night Elves. And that's how Night Elves are a thing. And that's why Night Elves and Trolls, if you look at them, they actually have a few little similarities. So our current understanding of the lore is another group of Dark Trolls settled near Mount Hyjal. And when you actually look at Chronicle 1 has got a map that shows where the different troll tribes scattered to. And it's got one tribe of Dark Trolls at the Well of Eternity, another tribe of Dark Trolls at Mount Hyjal. So this actually would fit the Haranir perfectly into what Warcraft Chronicle Volume 1 established. So I think their lore there is pretty cool. They've been a little bit more light touch in the game right now. We see their storyline continue in this next patch. They're presumably going to be a little bit involved in some of the things in patch 11.1, but yes. Very obviously. Actually, 11.1 is going to have a decent amount to do with, I think, some of the Titan stuff. I'm thinking about the recent Archives questline as well, like the lore we've got from that. Because, yes, we go to Undermine, but the press kit has got this, like, whole area that basically is a mystery flesh pit full of, like, messed up Titan architecture. So that makes me think that it's a very solid bet to say patch 11.2 is going to be the Rootlands. And in that case, Karesh is probably going to be in the Midnight expansion. If that ended up being the end of the Midnight expansion, that would be unbelievably cool.
It would also bring parallels to, we'll talk about Midnight a little bit later, but it would bring parallels to Argus. And Legion, the best expansion they've ever had.
Yep.
Which a lot of people still believe, even though not everyone agrees. Everyone who disagrees is wrong. Anyway, here are the shots of a win at the World Soul from Warcraft Direct. Now, we do know that this is very, very, very mild spoiler territory, but we weren't sure until we heard some data mine voice lines from 11.0.7 that we weren't sure if these were maybe Elune people, if the goddess they spoke of and the voices they kind of, maybe they were inspired by Elune, hence, because our framing was maybe these people were, these Haranir were kind of on the evolutionary path to being night elves, and Elune was communing with them, and then she went, wait, shit, I need lads to go sort out these roots, defend them, go over there and do that for us. Cheers. And then give them more wild godly stuff. But it appears that they are more specifically Azeroth's guardians, and they follow her very specifically, hence all this World Soul stuff and a little bit of that. But they'll be there, and they'll be very, very, very interesting. Now, I think the one thing to say about the Rootlands, just in case you aren't aware, there were a case of leaks of varying agreeability, I'll say, or veracity, I'll say.
Well, this leak is entirely true, but completely disagreeable.
Yeah, so varying veracity, there was talk, or like on a map of the War Within zones before they had final names. I think it was like Halifal was called Arathor Caverns, which it is in some files and stuff at the minute. There was one that was worked on called the Rootlands, and that's nowhere in game whatsoever, but it seems to be the home of these people, and that's where
that's certainly. If you look into certain caverns and things, it kind of does look like the Rootlands is above Hallowfall.
Yeah.
Or maybe underneath.
To the side of it.
Yeah.
A wee bit, because you fly up, because you go through the Ruptured Lake in Hallowfall, trying to vaguely keep a sense of like height here. You go from the Ruptured Lake in Hallowfall down to Ashgahead, and at the bottom of the Ruptured Lake, there's the roots, and they're over around here-ish or so. Say the Priory's up like here, the roots are like up this direction, so it's almost kind of maybe depth-wise parallel to Hallowfall, but just way further on, or through some magic stuff or something.
I really hope somebody clips that, speeds it up, and turns that into a dance.
That would be very weird. That'd be very strange, but yes.
Expect Rootlands. Probably not just going to be green, though. If you take a look at... well, all of the breathing pit, all the big fleshy holes that are in Ashgahead. There's probably going to be a whole bunch of that. And it may even tie into some of the Coreway stuff. Though, I do wonder, not to get completely off topic in terms of lore, but I wonder if that World Core stuff is really just seeds being planted for the last Titan.
Potentially.
I think it's probably that.
Potentially that. But just for context, I'll show you. Let me just confirm this actually functions. Yes, no it doesn't. That's the wrong thing entirely. Is that just not showing you the right browser window? That's useful. Very good. I love computers a lot with all of my heart and soul. So I do. Let me just fix that really quickly. Actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. You know what the breathing pit looks like. You know what the big holes.
They know.
You know what the flesh down the back of the City of Threads looks like. Sorry, City of Echoes.
We have a very flesh-aware audience. So, that's the Rootlands. But there's other things in that patch. And I think that some of our previous speculations are not invalidated by this, because it still says Season Rewards Refresh. That had us thinking, are there going to be new Mythic Plus rewards? Maybe an equivalent of a gladiator mount? Is there going to be a new PvP reward track? Are they going to take the idea of the Delver's Journey and perhaps work that into Raid, work that into Mythic Plus? I hope so, right? I think there's obviously a lot of room, because the gearing experience of WoW feels good. Like, getting your character more powerful feels good, feels fairly actionable, right? Like, how you can just go and get gear. But some of the other ways in which a game can be rewarding are not really there as much. So hopefully there's something going on there. The other thing then is warband updates. We don't really know what that could be. Could be system updates, could be more warband camp collections. That's one thing we do know is coming in the Undermine patch, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And the other thing, which really got my head going, is open world challenges. Because previously they say world events. which are not challenges.
Yeah,
so what the hell is an open world challenge? I don't know. We will find out in 8 months or something. No, we'll find out in 5 months or 6 months because of PTR.
What?
No, we don't know. I mean, this is patch 11.2, which is going to be late June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's November.
It's November, man.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're correct. Yes. Yes. So the
You
patch
are
is about
temporally disoriented.
Yeah. So the patch is about. I always get temporally disoriented in November, December. And did I dream that I talked to this on stream or not? But people have visualizations of what calendars are in their head. People will like spatially frame the months of the year, and this is like a known thing. It's like a research thing.
Whoa.
And people have different shapes in their head for what the year looks like, and mine technically doesn't work.
What?
Yeah. I have a. Okay, someone remembers this. Yeah, I remember. So I thought I told this.
Dream.
Yeah, it was a dream.
I love that.
Yeah, so my the calendar takes the shape of a rectangle in my head, but the rectangle doesn't add up because one side's shorter than the other, and it physically doesn't work. Which means I have a really scuffed sense of time over the length of the winter season.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really weird. I can't remember what it's called, but I would suggest looking up calendar shapes.
Right. Well, at some point we'll need to fix Matt's bent rectangle. Dear me.
Yes, exactly.
So we don't know what this is. I'm not going to chew the fat on it too much, but let's hope they're trying to do something a little bit more interesting there. I mean, even just playing other video games, like running around the Elden Ring and things, it's nice to see, things can kill me in the world. And maybe the final sort of through line we can draw here is they have the Stormy version of the Siren Isle, which is full of elites, and it doesn't have flying. It's meant to be harder. I wonder if that's them trying to inject a little bit more challenge into the world, and maybe if they're trying to cook along similar lines or something like this.
That would track. I do have one person suggesting the Warband update could be more older reps becoming account wide.
That would be great.
Which is something we haven't seen any word of so far. So that would definitely track. That would track, especially with the lengths they're going to for reps and stuff in like the classic and anniversary event of like, just get all your old reps sorted through this time walk and stuff. That would really track if it was to be carried through in the future, because that is something they want to do and talked about. Just like, we did the War Within ones for now, because obviously we have an expansion to ship. We can't make everything perfect first. So I think that's what we're looking at for our new zone. There's not too much to say outside of Rootlands, and maybe they're going to cook a little bit more.
That's it.
Excellent.
Maybe we will get some delicious cooked root.